We are back with you guys, Bow Venture. Here we go. Today we're going to talk about walk back tuning. It's what you do right after paper tuning.
Why are you holding a nail gun?
It's a projectile, it'll walk back tune too.
No. Let's get you back in bow mode.
Oh, that makes more sense. Guys, we're getting into walk back tuning. Stick around. Let's do it.
We rolling.
We rolling. Guys, today is a cool video. Walk back tuning. I bet 90% of people out there, deer hunters, it's not that you don't know what you're doing, but a lot of people I talk to, buddies of mine, don't even know what walk back tuning or French tuning is. They'll just take their bow to the shop, or when they buy a bow, they'll throw it through paper and they'll call it good. Paper tuning, a perfect bullet hole through paper with fletching, is nothing more than a beginning point. It's the same exact concept of bore sighting a rifle. You have a laser, you get the bullet at 80 yards on a paper plate, then after that you fine tune everything to get it punching a penny. So that's all paper tuning is, just to kind of get it close, but that is not where you stop. So that's why we're here today. Walk back tuning. What you're going to do is, walk back tuning is mainly you're going to be touching your wrist instead of your sight. So what you'll do is stand at 3 to 5 yards, real close to the target. And we'll go over to what we got down there. Throw you a piece of paper on your target, and throw you a piece of paper on your target, get a level, and make a perfectly level line. Because it might look level on the target, but you want a perfectly level line, because if you're popping it up here right in the line and down here in the line, but the line's not level, then you're going to be off. It's like an illusion. So just get a level, make sure you have a straight line, stand at 3 yards with your sight set on, I haven't set this up yet, I just bought this sight, with your sight set on around 50 yards. And you're going to stand here and you're going to shoot that line and see where it hits. All right, come up here, Matt. As you can tell, guys, I'm pretty much right in that black line right there. So now what you want to do is back up, keep your sight on 50 yards and back up to 50 yards and shoot at that line. So for an example, if you hit this line at 3 yards and you hit this line at 50, you are good. And make sure, here's another tip, make sure you do not do this on a windy day. Make sure you've practiced and you can hold steady, because if your pin's doing this around that line at 50, you're not going to get an accurate reading. So just, I'm not saying don't walk back tune your bow, because it's the most crucial step pretty much, but just make sure you're holding good that day. Make sure there's no elements involved with wind or anything. But anyway, 3 yards if you're in this line and 50 yards if you're in this line, you are good to go. But let's say I just shot that at 3 yards like I did, I'm right in the line. I back up to 20 yards and I'm a touch left. And then I back up to 30 yards and I'm a touch more left. That's what's gonna happen if your rest is off. Back to 50, it might be hitting here. So most people will sight in their bow at 20 yards and punch a line or punch a dot and they call it good, but they back up to 50 or so and your arrow starts to tell one way or the other. And here's why. If you look down my bow here, let's see. So if you look down it, my arrow is running perfectly straight with the left side of my stabilizer. That's where this bow likes it. So you could sight in and get this thing hitting a dot at 20 yards, but your arrow might very well look like that and be crooked. So, or this way a little bit. And all it takes is, you might not even be able to see it. It might look straight, but all it takes is just a hair, and at 50 yards you'll be off left or right. And it'll get, the further back you walk, because this arrow is going to be, instead of it being in a straight line, it might be just like that to your right, that, I mean, just a hair. And the further out you go, it's going to gravitate towards the direction that the point is facing. So this string, these cams are the motor, the power stroke of this bow. These strings have to 100% be absolutely in line with the middle of this shaft. The front, it's got to fire when this thing whips. Everything's got to be perfect. That much off, and it can mean a difference in a deer at 30 yards or 50 yards or whatever you feel comfortable shooting a deer. So don't settle. But anyway, here's how you do it. If you are popping that line at 3 yards, you go back to 20 and you're still on the line, but you're starting to go a little left. Get back to 50 and you're that far left, or even worse. What you want to do is take your rest. Depending on what rest you have, they always have an option of going left or right. All right, so let's say we're hitting, here, I'll do this as an example. This is my 3 yard arrow right here. That's not going to work. All right, so this right here is your 3 yard arrow. You think you're good to go. Your sight's on, you think your rest is good. You move back to 30. This is your 30 yard arrow. This is your 50 yard arrow. See how it's walking over to the right? So what you're going to want to do, since that arrow is facing, the point of it is facing to the right, and the nock's behind it going like this, you want to move your rest to the left. So that'll take this arrow from doing that to doing that, and it'll get it straighter. So that's called walk back tuning. And you want to be able to pop this line at 3 and 50. If you're stacking all these on this line at 3 and 50, your sight is aligned with your wrist. So that's, and if you're shooting your very first shot, I forgot to mention this, your very first shot at 3 yards or 5 yards, if you're hitting over here, then just go ahead and move your sight to where you can hit that line. And then once you've hit that line, when you walk back, tune it. When you walk back and shoot it further distance, your rest is going to tell on you. So just remember, if you're shooting left of the line, then you need to move your rest right. If you're shooting right of the line, you need to move your rest left. So that's a tip. It'll help you during deer season. It'll help you on the range. There's, in my opinion, nothing more important than a straight flying arrow, even in hunting scenarios, because there's no, it's not going into that animal sideways at all. It's going in straight, and it's going to help you have more penetration also. Instead of it going in and you see a lot of whip, a lot of wobble, that's because it's not hitting straight with a nock straight behind the tip. So another thing, guys, you can do this out to 60 yards. You can do it out as far as you want, but 50 is kind of minimum. That we like to do it at 50 yards because that's the maximum distance for ASA tournaments. So that's kind of what we go to. But I wanted to clarify something with you. When I'm talking about arrows being pointed a certain way, I mean out of the bow, not in the target. So you could walk up to the target and see an arrow like this. It depends on what target you have. Don't think anything of it. Or like this. It's just the way it wobbled when it hit. As long as you're on this line right here. So I just wanted to clear that up. I know some people might have gotten a little confused on that. But let's walk to 50, see where we hit. All right. So 50 yards, I am I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Now, I've already walked back tuned this bow, but that right there, so I'm in the line at 3, I'm in the line at 50. So it's gonna tell you I'm gonna be in the line anywhere in between 50 and 3. If it's in the line at 3 and at 50, you're good to go. And 99.9%, you're gonna be good past 50. So stick around for some more content. We really appreciate this, guys. Appreciate your support. I cannot stress enough how y'all need to do this. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. This right here is the way to tune your bow. So you can also bare shaft tune a bow. We'll go over that in a different video as well. But this right here, you shoot your arrow with fletching on it. So I believe in walk back tuning more so than anything. So stay tuned. Bow Venture out. I'm gonna hit subscribe. Are y'all?